My friends, we finally have spoilers about the third chapter of Knights of the Zodiac, the Heaven Saga. As everyone already knows, the final saga of Saint Seiya, titled The Heaven Saga, has finally begun. This week, Chapter 3 of this manga will be officially released in Japan. However, some fans have already had access to this chapter and leaked a summary full of spoilers about what will happen. Hello, Knights and Amazons. Welcome to the Sempre Quist Saber channel. I'm Wes. And in today's video, we're going to analyze the full spoilers for Chapter 3 of Knights of the Zodiac, the Heaven Saga. Are you curious? So go ahead and click like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. Even after defeating gods and facing Hades himself, Seiya is condemned to forget all his memories, just like Athena and the other four main Bronze Knights. But with the official release of the third chapter of the Heaven Saga, scheduled for May 27, 2026 in Japan, the community around the world is extremely excited. Although the weekly Shonen Champion magazine has not officially reached newsstands and digital platforms yet, there are some detailed reports about it. In this chapter, they've already begun circulating online. Although we don't have images from this chapter yet, a summary of what happens in the story has been released. And in this spoiler, it says the following. At dawn, Seiya and Shun set out for work. Seiya says that when he woke up, he was living with his sister in a general store, not knowing anything about what happened before, and that his sister also wouldn't tell him anything. When they hear screams, they run to the place and find Saori driving away a gang of robbers with a mysterious energy. At that moment, a large number of skeletons appear and try to take Saori away. Seiya, who holds back the skeletons, gets punched and is thrown far away, but is surprised by his own agility. The skeletons immobilize Seiya, but suddenly his body heats up and they are all thrown far away. Seiya is perplexed to see himself defeating the skeletons one after another with a mysterious power that wells up from within him. At that moment, someone whispers in his heart. "It's Cosmo," the mysterious voice says. It tells him to remember that he is Seiya, the Pegasus Knight. My friends, just with these spoilers, you can already tell that the story is amazing, but we need to analyze all these details more closely. And to understand the magnitude of what's happening in this third chapter, we need to put some things into context. Analyzing the journey of Seiya, the young orphan who was trained at the sanctuary in Greece, we realize that his destiny was always intertwined with that of Saori Kido. Saori, whom we discover to be the reincarnation of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and of just war, is the central pillar of the entire story. Seiya, in turn, is the soul who always rises to protect her. The fact that he is now in a state of amnesia, living an ordinary life, is not just a mere plot detail. It's a narrative device that Kurumada uses to show us the weight of a knight's humanity. And Seiya's Cosmo awakening in this chapter, even though he is now just an ordinary person, is truly impactful. We know that the knights are those who can expand this Cosmo to astronomical levels. And seeing Seiya, a man who has already burned his Cosmo to the absolute limit to save the world several times, now acting as an ordinary civilian who is trying to discover his true past, is really intriguing. This chapter will begin with a scenario that no one imagined for the Pegasus Knight. Seiya now has an ordinary daily life, living with his sister Saga in the village of Rodorio. At dawn, he and Shun leave for work, that's right. The man who fought against the Marina generals and elite specters in the past is now concerned with the daily livelihood of his family. Seiya shares little about his new reality. Apparently, he is living with his sister in a small general store. The most intriguing thing is the mystery surrounding his mind. He doesn't remember past events, and even his own sister seems to keep these secrets. She avoids bringing up the subject or revealing the truth about who he really was in the recent past. Shun of Andromeda, who accompanies Seiya, brings a necessary contrast to the narrative. He has always been the saint who hated violence, preferring compassion. Seeing Shun in the context of a normal life reinforces the idea that the Heaven Saga seeks to humanize our heroes. Shun, who in the past was chosen by Hades himself as a vessel because of his purity, is the one who acts as emotional support for Seiya. But that supposed peace is broken when Zeku's scream is heard nearby. This is where the story gains that epic pace we love. They run and find Saori Kido, and at that moment the two boys watch as Saori drives away a group of robbers using a mysterious energy. That mysterious energy was probably Saori's Cosmo, which may have repelled the thieves. This suggests that Athena's divine powers are manifesting in critical and dangerous moments. But after that, the danger increases when a group of skeleton specters appears. This is probably the group of specters sent by Jean de Orthros with the goal of taking Athena's life. So, we've reached what promises to be the climax of the summary. Seiya, driven by his protective instinct, tries to intervene. He stops the specters but is sent flying by an enemy punch. Despite that, Seiya is surprised by his own agility, suggesting that the Pegasus Saint didn't suffer major damage from that blow, or was even able to stay on his feet after being hit. Apparently, the body of the Pegasus Saint still has muscle memory from previous battles. That's why, even though Seiya's mind was erased by Apollo, his body, which was trained under the rigor and discipline of Eagle Marine, still responds instinctively to danger. But the moment with the best references, and which I personally believe was a great move by Kurumada in this chapter, was when the skeletons immobilized Seiya. Suddenly, something happens. Seiya's body starts to burn and all the enemies are repelled far away. My friends, this is a classic reference to the first episode of the anime, where Seiya couldn't burn his Cosmo after putting on the Pegasus armor. At that moment, the regular soldiers of the sanctuary were hitting Seiya, but when they touched his armor, their hands got burned because of the power of Pegasus's Cosmo. So we'll probably have a similar scene in the manga with the specters having the same feeling when they touch Pegasus. And maybe the attack that will send the enemies flying will be Pegasus meteors. It's said that Seiya is surprised with himself after defeating the skeleton specters, and he feels that mysterious power burning in his heart. And guys, it's at this moment that a chilling and mysterious voice whispers in his heart, revealing that this power is Cosmo. With that, my friends, we have 3 possibilities for the true identity behind this voice. The first and least likely is the Pegasus armor itself, which resonated with Seiya's Cosmo. The second and more likely is the spirit of Aiolos, as we know in the chapters of Saint Seiya Den, which would be the opening for the Heaven Saga. Aiolos, in spirit form, talks to Saori and temporarily restores her memories, revealing to her that her mission is to protect the Earth. And since the events of Chapter 3 of the Heaven Saga take place around the sanctuary, it's possible that the spirit of Aiolos is manifesting once again. As we know, in the final chapter of Next Dimension, when Seiya and Saori look at each other as strangers, the spirit of Aiolos transports his testament to the ruins around the sanctuary. So we know that the soul of the Sagittarius Saint is quite active at the beginning of this story, and this voice talking to Seiya could indeed be the legendary Aiolos manifesting once again. But the third and final possibility would be the voice of Miran. As we know, she was the one who taught Seiya how to master his Cosmo, and that's why his memories of when he first wore the Pegasus cloth and had trouble burning his Cosmo might be coming back to him. At that moment, when Seiya was being defeated by Sheena, Marin gave him some advice to help him find his warrior spirit. So it would also be a great reference if this mysterious voice really is Miran's. This chapter has 19 confirmed pages and will be officially released on the 27th of this month. We are entering an amazing new phase for Knights of the Zodiac, and the author Masami Kurumada is really pleasing the vast majority of fans around the world with the new chapters. The positive response both in Japan and Latin countries and in Europe is quite surprising. Something we haven't seen happen in the Knights of the Zodiac fanbase for a long time. If the manga keeps up this pace, we'll have a work that not only honors the legacy of the Knights, but also manages to innovate and bring this story to a magnificent close. But what about you? What do you think about all this? Whose mysterious voice did Seiya hear in his heart? Leave your opinions in the comments, and of course, thank you for watching until the end, and see you next time. May you burn your Cosmo to infinity.